So, Ash, thank you for taking the time out to do a sort of a little testimonial, share your story a little bit. So, Ash, I just want to start by just asking you just to introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? That kind of stuff.
So my name is Ash. Um, I'm a multiple business owner. I have industrial abseiling business, rope access business. We have a bird proofing business, all UK wide based, and we are just currently on track for building a property portfolio.
Absolutely, man. And I just want you to obviously share your story, Ash, because it's very inspirational. I know that you've literally started talking on platforms as well, which we're going to get to in a second. But let's just start if you just share a bit of your story. I mean, where was you growing up? What was life like for you growing up, man? Share that.
So growing up, I had pretty, I wouldn't say bad, but a very strange relationship with my dad. Always been rejected because of my ADHD and I um because of how hard work I was, too full on. But on top of that, my dad and my stepmom was very, I don't know how to explain it, very judgmental of me, even though I was 4 years old at the time.
Yeah.
So it was the rejection sensitive side of my ADHD was excelled through them as well. Um, I was bullied really hard at school. Um, not so much because of my ADHD, but just a number of other things. So so again with the rejection sensitive side of the ADHD, that was worsened by being lonely through school, having no friends, being bullied. Um, and then I left school and I kind of turned that the other way. So instead of being this scared, bullied little boy, I turned into the chavvy, aggressive lad, always getting arrested and in trouble with the police. Because I think I felt at the time that that is how I was going to fit in, and that is how I was going to finally have some friends. Which,
Which is a
I,
lot. It's a very common struggle that I think a lot of people have, and obviously you're not alone with this. I just want to point this out because Ash, there's a lot of people that with ADHD we're seeking something, right? We're seeking some sort of validation, some sort of visibility. You know?
yeah, absolutely. I think it clouds your vision a little bit as well. Like for me, I thought when I left school, I thought, great, I've got friends. I've just got to go nick these cars or take these drugs or go to these parties. Like, but really, you're just the scapegoat. You're the guy they throw under the bus when it all goes to shit. Um, and yeah, I mean, I was at court and then I walked out of court and it was my mum. She gave me a cuddle and kind of just said, I've not slept for a year and a half. Um, don't please don't do that to me again. So I kind of made a promise to me and her from that day that that's the day I turned my life around. Um, at this point, it was just more about being a better person in general rather than. So I was just trying to address the issues of me going off the rails and all the bad stuff I was doing at the time. Um, Stopping the drugs, which I used for years to self medicate, party drugs, things like that. But for me at the time, it was right. I need to stop getting arrested. I need to come away from that crowd, um, and just be a better person. um, so yeah, I mean that wasn't an easy task in itself. Um, and then I've I've always had a very high resilience. Like even when I was getting bullied at school, I still went to school. Still turned up every day with my head high. And it was a tough few years of my life. But I've always had that mindset of never give up. But as I say, I'd never really addressed my ADHD, and then I couldn't hold down a job. Um, and then I I was actually walking through London on one weekend, and I just seen someone swinging off a building on a rope, and I just instantly thought, "That's what I need to
How'd
do."
you do? How'd you
Yeah,
do?
I didn't even know what it was. I just Googled it.
Yeah,
Someone,
well,
I think I just Googled what is someone swinging off a building called.
sometimes it is being in the right place at the right time. But I suppose you can also be in the right place in the wrong time or the wrong place in the right time and all that sort of palaver. But yeah, man. And no, thanks for sharing that, Ash. And it's this is one of the biggest things of ADHD minds, right? We can see things and be very curious. This is one of our things that we get into trouble for in school. Your teacher goes, he's always distracted, he never pays attention. But in reality, we're just curious. We're just like, hey, what's going on over there? What's going on over there? And and this is why people, especially kids with ADHD, struggle quite a lot. I had very similar struggles to I know a lot of people with ADHD were picked on or were bullied or were struggling with rejection. And if they weren't bullied, they're probably bullying themselves internally. Do you know what I mean? Ash, talk me through before you joined the program, which was sort of January at the time. What made you want to join? What was the biggest struggles that you just wanted to solve that you was battling with?
So it's quite a funny story, to be fair. So at the time when I come across your video, I was already really successful. I was still pretty heavy on the partying, but as far as work and all this went, but it was strange because no matter how successful I become or how much better I did in business or work or with money, I just didn't feel any gratification from it. I was still broken on the inside, and I tried medication. Just, I think from a bit of school trauma when the teacher used to jump in the class and tell the whole class that I needed to go for my medication, kind of put the medication as a no go for me. But I mean, just before I signed up with you, because my business was getting more successful, I needed to be more concentrating on what I was doing. I'm like, I need some help here. So I got re-diagnosed with ADHD, tried the medication for 2 weeks, just wasn't for me. The feeling, I hated it. The childhood trauma was back from the medication. And I think for about 20 years, I'd convinced myself that I can do this. I can make this better myself. I can sort this problem, that problem. I can get better. I can figure it out. And obviously, after 20 years, still no luck. So, and I come across your video. So I think I sent a private message, I think. And then,
Yeah, maybe on social media at some point. I think that's how we connected, wasn't it, at the beginning?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had the discovery call. And I mean, I'd never gone down the route of coaching or anything before. Like, it was quite, I thought about it, but never knew enough about it to really be interested.
What made you take the plunge this time then, Ash?
Well, after our discovery call, I remember you saying to me, "What's your thoughts?" And I just said, "Sounds too good to be true." and,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
and I think the reason for that, and you asked me why, and I think the reason I give you was I've been what you're telling me I can achieve in 3 months. I've been trying to do for 20 years. So how is that even possible? But I knew I had to do something, and I knew the medication wasn't for me, and it just wasn't for me. So I just thought, shit or bust. It's the only thing what existed in the world that I'd not tried.
Yeah.
So yeah,
A medication for most people, man. I've helped over 100 people, as you know, Ash. If I've helped over 100, I've spoken to over 1,000. I've never met one person ever that has told me that medication has given them a long-term successful benefit ever. And it's sad because the way you see it on the mainstream media, they push it like they a lot of people say, hey, it's just like wearing glasses if you struggle to read. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's shit. It's not great. I mean, I used to be medicated, and it genuinely almost killed me, man. So I really feel that pain, and that's why I went on this journey myself. For people like yourself, Ash, to not have to resort to just medication because it's not sustainable. Maybe in the short term when you're in the transition period, but yeah, you need to figure out another way. Would you agree on that?
Yeah. I mean, as I say, like, I struggled from day one with the medication, but again, I was that desperate to be fixed that
Yeah.
I persevered with it for 2, 3 weeks. Every day I
Mm,
persevered with it, and I think it was just more desperation why I persevered than I was just. I mean, you know what I was like when I first met you. I was this
yeah.
on the outside. I was this smashing life, big, successful, multiple
Yeah.
businesses, earning plenty of money. But I was just on the inside. It was just broken.
Was you a seven-figure entrepreneur just as I met you, or did it come after?
Um, so we're just on track for it this financial
Right,
year.
right. I'm with you, mate. Yeah, yeah, no.
So,
And
so since we set the business up, on average, we have built £200,000 per year extra on the turnover from starting. And we started the business from £200 laptop. We're now 5 year. We're in our 5th year, on track for our first seven figure turnover this year,
that's
um,
amazing.
and we're
You should
fully
self
debt
out this.
free. No debt on the business whatsoever.
So for someone who's watching this right now, looking for some guidance, maybe successful on paper but struggling inside, a bit similar to yourself, Ash. What has your experience been like within the program? And as a part two to that, what do you feel like you've achieved from being in the program? Start from your experience kind of first. What's your experience been like for someone who's sort of watching, asking the
So,
question?
so when I first started, again, you was introducing things that I'd never even thought of, heard of, seen, done, and it was like some of the things you was suggesting to do. I'm like, okay. I was embarrassed even thinking about doing it, but then it's like, obviously, again, because I was desperate to be fixed, I did them. And unlike with the medication, where I was that desperate to be fixed, I forced myself, it forced them in me, and it did nothing but give me anxiety. With this, I tried it, forced it, and I think it only took a couple of days to notice a difference. Just,
Yeah, because
I
I
mean,
remember you went up on you up very quickly.
yeah, I mean, I think a big thing for me at the time was being present in the moment. And I think with the support I got from you, even just in that first week or two, after a couple of weeks, I was, don't get me wrong, I was still a little bit overthinking, but my overthinking now compared to back then,
Yeah.
I do overthink, but rather than overthinking for hours on end, 30 seconds in, I just remember like the
Yeah.
certain techniques you tell me, like send your thoughts somewhere else and stop
Yeah.
overthinking and just think about what color socks you've got on. I don't know. And
Yeah.
it's daft as it sounds, it really does work. Like being
Yeah, man.
present. I mean, my girlfriend Soph, that was a big thing for her. Like we'd be flying abroad on our way to holiday, and I'd already be trying to book next year's holiday. I could just never be happier in the moment.
Yeah. And yeah, that's exactly right, Ash. Sometimes you have to come out your shell, right? Which is kind of, I suppose, what you're alluding to. Just doing things that you've never done before, maybe getting yourself very uncomfortable, but knowing that it's going to make you a better person, it's going to build you up, it's at least going to give you a different result to maybe what you've had because you've already tried everything else. You know what I mean? And I've always said this to you, Ash, even off the camera, you're a very inspirational person because, you know, you are successful on paper. You really have tried to make this work. You've tried many, many things and you genuinely have struggled, but you've never given up on yourself. And that's why I'm quite excited to have you as a guest speaker at this event as well on the Saturday, the 16th of May, because you're going to inspire so many people. Talk about you being a motivational speaker now on a stage. That's going to be an inspirational thing. Share that. It's awesome.
So, so with my businesses, probably for a year now, I've been like, right, I'm going to start doing video content because I mean, I'm 39 and it cringes me out the fact that this is the way the world has gone. Social media, like content, and
Yeah.
the amount of videos I did over that first year, just about my business, but also just maybe just a bit of inspirational speaking about ADHD in business. Like I used to make 10 videos, watch every one, and absolutely cringe and just delete them. Like I just I have a 12-year-old and I just thought even she'd be embarrassed with it in me. I'm dad, I'm
No.
old now, do you know what I mean? But it's the way the world's going, and I think I also doubted, oh, everyone's gonna think I'm a knobhead, everyone's gonna think I'm daft, I'm a twat. Like
But you've had good feedback. You've had really good feedback
since
from it.
since I started just doing the content, like I've had so many people I know but not spoke to for years, like giving me, oh, you're an inspiration. I think it's great what you're doing. But then also people I don't know, like, oh, your videos, I can really relate to them. I'm going through the same stuff. So it's definitely encouraged me more. And then obviously I did my first public speaking event the other
Yeah, man.
week.
Amazing.
Um, that was about a month of anxiety. I think I rang you. I think I rang you about 50 times telling you I'm cancelling and you wouldn't let me.
But you push through it, man. You push through it, and
Yeah.
it just goes to show the kind of mindset that you had to get through it. And you know, and now you're in a whole different league, mate. And it's only onwards and upwards. Like I've said to you, right now you're not just obviously with your mindset, you've grown massively, but even now you're looking to become a coach yourself, and you're
Yeah.
looking to become a coach for the academy yourself. And you're not just now looking to be a coach for the academy and working on your mindset and absolutely doing so much better than normal, but or than before, but you're even standing on stages, man. And you should honestly you should be so proud of yourself, Ash. It's not been an easy run for you, but it just goes to show what's possible when you have someone who is on your wavelength, aligned with you, but gets it, who can show you a path forward. Because I'm not smarter than you. I'm nothing. I'm none of that stuff. I'm not better looking. I'm not smart. I'm none of that. But what I am, just someone who is 2 steps forward in how to get over this ADHD struggle, how to use it. You know what I mean? And that's essentially what it comes down to, Ash. And I have a final question to ask you. If someone's watching this now, what would be your biggest advice to someone who's in a similar place to you, someone who's successful on paper, doing well, got a business, but just feeling that struggle inside, like how you felt, similar past experience, and they're sitting there watching this now in their living room? What advice would you give to that person?
So from my personal opinion with it all is I was very skeptical about getting a coach. And to be honest, since I've met you, I've also heard a lot of horror stories about coaches, copy and paste coaches, as I call them. They give their clients chat GPT answers rather than actual knowledge, actually caring about the success of the client.
Yeah,
And I mean, I do find myself quite lucky that you was the first coach that I found because I do often sit and think what I could have spent thousands and thousands on a coach previous who didn't care, wasn't interested, didn't have a clue what he was talking about. But then that would have put me off getting a coach for life. I'd have
yeah,
never gone and looked for another coach if I'd have been ripped off by one. So I do consider myself very lucky that I, I found like you because the benefits I've had from you in my personal opinion, like is, and I think the main thing from it is other than like the obvious, like you actually care about what you're doing. You're not just here trying to make numbers up. But I think for me, the biggest thing is I think we've said before our stories are quite similar.
Yeah,
growing up, and
very similar. Yeah,
where we're at and where kind of where we're aiming for. But for me, it's I've never really had anyone. I've had like I talked to my girlfriend, I talked to my mum, but they don't have ADHD. So there's nothing worse than I find this. I always find there's two sorts of people without ADHD: the people who pretend to understand but don't, or the people who try to understand because they really care about you but can't understand. And
yeah,
I feel like there's them two different people. But to have someone like yourself who just gets it, like I can ring you with what's going on in my head, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I get that. Oh yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. Let's try do this. Let's figure
yeah,
this one out." Where you tell someone about ADHD, as much as they care about you and they try to understand, they just never will. It's
yeah,
like my business partner. If I'm struggling with a computer task, I get really overwhelmed with it, and he does the dreaded look, and he just says it's easy because they don't understand. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I get it, man. I get it, and you're not wrong, Ash. And that's one of the saddest truths is that there are people that will never ever have a coach because they've had a bad experience. And the sad truth is that there are a lot of coaches that are copy and paste. I I mean, I physically couldn't be copy and paste because I speak to you over the phone. I don't have enough time to chat GPT what we discuss. Does that make sense? But no, you are right. There was actually a guy at the National Neurodiversity events. I think I mentioned him to you. Where he came to me asking me what I'm doing, what I'm up to, because he was intrigued. And then he said that he doesn't invest in coaching himself, which I found peculiar because how can you ask someone to invest in you if you're not prepared to invest in yourself? I know it sounds obvious, but it obviously wasn't obvious. I have 4 coaches today. I am an advocate for investing in coaching. You're going to have clients yourself one day in your own coaching academy, but you're invested in me. So everyone has to have a coach. Even the highest coaches have coaches. And it's very important you feel understood and you have someone who is aligned with you, who practices what they've preached to you. Does that make sense? That's probably one of the biggest things I'd say, mate. And I couldn't agree more. It's so easy to get stung. It's so easy to get confused. But my advice as a counter thing to what you're saying is if you have had a bad experience, just treat it like a relationship. If you have a bad relationship, don't stop dating, don't become celibate. You say that relationship was horrific, on to the next kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I just find it a real shame because
It is, mate. Yeah, I get it.
the benefits I have got out of this, and I put it down to been quite lucky, to be fair, to get lucky the first time, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because when you sit and think about it, the amount of people who they might have gone through 3, 4, or 5 shit
Yeah.
coaches,
We've
and
got a lot of people like that actually in the academy. Kashi swings to mind in when he was sharing his story, he had three coaches before me.
yeah,
Imagine you now investing 3 times before anything's crazy in it.
yeah. But the thing is as well, like if you put that into perspective, someone who's maybe got a little bit of savings, but they're not particularly well off, but they're that desperate for help and they
Yeah,
invest in a shit coach, which takes it's like when you pay a roofer before he turns up and he never turns up. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? That's all your
absolutely.
savings gone and you've got no benefit out of it.
Yeah,
And it's
sad,
quite
mate.
heartbreaking, isn't it?
Man, it's why I do what I do, Actually, I left the electrical engineering role to help people because I was like, this is ridiculous. It's an injustice, mate. How do I have one of the only personable formulas to help people like you? It's not right, mate. It's too transactional for a lot of coaches. But like I said, I'm not going to say anything bad about coaches. All I'm saying is that just do your due diligence. Like listen to people, try your best to make the right decision for you and your family, and don't be shy to invest if something feels right. I suppose that's the biggest takeaway I'd say. But Ash, thanks a lot for sharing your story, man. I really appreciate it. And you're going to definitely inspire a lot of people, and especially on the Saturday, the 16th of May, you're going to be a guest speaker at the virtual event. You're going to inspire people there too, man. And I know you are. So, Ash, thank you very, very much. I'm going to start the recording now, man.